Hello everybody to another episode of This Game Ware's Let's Plays. These Let's Plays tie into our podcast, which goes out every couple of weeks on a Thursday. You can find the podcast at thisgameware.podbean.com. I'll put a link in the description. Our last episode 2, was all about this game here, Greendog. It's a Mega Drive platformer for anyone that's not familiar with it. And oh, there she is already, Bambi. If you're not familiar with it, you might not know that this character Greendog was a contender for Sonic's crown when Mega Drive kicked off. He was in contention to be the face of Sega. You can hear that and lots of other interesting little bits and bobs about the game and other games by listening to the podcast. Before we get stuck in, if you would like to like and subscribe on this video, if you enjoy it, that would be great. It really helps out. Our first aim with YouTube is to get to 100 subscribers so that we can actually change our URL to a unique one, custom one, rather than being a bunch of letters and numbers. So yeah, if you can help out with that would be great. Thank you. So let's get started. I've skipped the intro. Sorry about that. If you love watching intros, I'm not one of those. If you listen to the podcast, you'll know that's the case. So one of the good things about this game is the music. Well, I think it is anyway. I like the calypso elements of it. That could be one of the only good elements, depending on your tastes. When I played with Chris in the podcast, that is, I didn't really enjoy it that much, but it might just be that Chris is a bad influence and actually it's a good game, so let's see. Or reasonable. Anyway, let's say that much. It controls well, I'll say that much for it, if nothing else. The mistakes that I'm making are wholly mine. It's nothing to do with the game doing anything wrong. And actually, other than his hair, I still think it looks good. I think when we recorded the episode, I really laid into the game at the end. But playing it now, I'm not sure it was justified. I think it might be okay, except those piranhas. It is a bit confusing. I've just been killing these birds, but this one you're supposed to jump to and hold on to so you can get down this waterfall. So there's slight inconsistency there, I suppose, which isn't great, but it's not the end of the world either, is it? That felt somewhat unavoidable, that fish, which is not really fair. Again, for anyone that's not seen this game, I'm some kind of surfer dude. Greendog is his name, but he's actually based on a real person. The person that originated the character was called Rick Green, and he was into surfing, I guess. And the first thing he did with the character was actually create a board game based on the character Greendog. Greendog was Rick Green's nickname. In life, in the surfing world, I'm not totally sure who was calling him it, or why you'd want to be called Greendog, but there we are. He made a board game, and the idea behind the board game was that it would appear in lots of surf shops around America, and that all the surfers, when they weren't surfing, would be playing Greendog, the surfer board game. I mean, it's not the worst idea. I don't know how the game plays. If you go on Board Game Geek, you can actually find pictures of it. One of the interesting things about it was that he managed to get sponsorship from surf shops and surfing. Dead already. Surf shops and surfing brands, all sort of California-based surfing brands and surfing shops, before it went into production, which is pretty cool and kind of selfless in the sense that it would have promoted those brands. I don't know whether they had to pay him for that, or I think he actually paid them for use. It would have added to authenticity as well, I think, wouldn't it? They don't appear in this game though, which is odd in a way if you think about it. I am talking more than concentrating, which is possibly why I died. That's the end of the first level. So that pose is a little bit Elvis Presley, or at least I think it is. So you see, this is another thing about the game that I think is fairly positive. That the levels are quite varied. Like you've just gone from a jungly area to like a Mayan temple sort of space. And later, as we go on, we will move into other levels that are quite different, like unexpectedly. Oh, great! That was cheap. Unexpectedly varied. That's what I would say about the game if I was going to try and promote it. Maybe not unexpectedly varied. That's the review version of that phrase. Sorry about this. I picked up an item in that first level and I'm not really sure what it is. I've never seen it before. It looks like an umbrella or something. Which is a bit odd. Maybe I should try and use it. I've never been this way in this level. There's like a lower route and a higher route, which again I didn't know when I used to play it as a kid at my friend's house. I wonder if he ever found it. It's not the worst looking game either. It's not the best of its time either, but it's definitely not the worst. If you think this is contemporary to Sonic on the Mega Drive, first couple of Sonics. Oh, sorry. Oh dear. Not really doing myself any justice, am I? Keep hurting him. Ah, yeah, okay. I see what I did. Yeah, so his weapon, which is somewhat unusual, and again we talk about it a bit in the podcast episode, it's a frisbee. Oh, this is the first boss. Yeah, the first boss, you've got to take out each of these 4 heads. can only hit them when they're turned towards you, though. Yeah, his weapon is a frisbee, which I don't know any other games that... Oh, I've lost my frisbee. How do I kill it if I can't frisbee it? I didn't know that you could lose your frisbee. Yeah, I don't know any other games where you use a frisbee. It's sort of like a boomerang-y sort of weapon, isn't it? Comes back to you, at least in this game. What we do know is that there are a pair of games, a couple of games where you use a football. Marco's Magic Football and The Adventures of Kid Cleats. I suspect more people will be familiar with Kid Cleats than either Greendog or Marco. Stuck myself, haven't I? Oh, I can break them. I didn't realise that. So somehow, I've managed to get a piece of treasure, and yeah. So the aim of the game is to collect these pieces of treasure, and they save you from a curse that's been put on you at the beginning of the game, which you'd know if I'd let you watch the introduction. I am actually trying to kill the enemies with my little boxing glove, but not doing a good job of it. This is a good example again of how the game varies it up. I've had a very short sort of linking level on that gyrocopter, which is alright, isn't it? I think it is anyway. And now we're on a beach. Oh, that's something that we talked about. And I'd be interested to know what people think actually. So leave a comment if you've got any thoughts on it. The music in that gyrocopter sequence, to me, it sounds like Under the Sea from Little Mermaid. Let me know if you've got an opinion on that, whether you think I'm right, particularly if you think I'm right. You see, variation again. These enemies feel quite different to go up against than previous enemies. The birds notwithstanding. I don't think we've had anything like these starfish that break up like little cluster bombs. Or these pelicans that are like rewards and punishments all in one. And these little comic crabs are pretty cool actually, I quite like them. I think it was in the review that I read of this game. It called it called the pickups that you get points from and whatnot. Call it beach food? Or maybe Chris called it beach food. So hamburgers and hot dogs and fries or chips or whatever, like McDonald's type stuff, not takeaway, fast foody sort of things. Which to me, I don't think that's beach food, that's barbecue. Burgers and hot dogs anyway. Well, this is, again, variation. This is the level that undid Chris. Skateboarding through the Mayan ruins. And it's those things that are annoying. Like, they don't punish you too bad, do they? But even so, I've done it again. Brilliant. Or not. I'm making this look like amateur hour. Oh, that was unfair. Oh, that was even more unfair. Oh dear. Oh god. Dead. And I'm right back to the beginning. Great. Oh. My god. How do you get over that? I mean, I obviously have before, but that feels really cheap. What is going on? Oh my god. That... I have no idea how I'm going to get over that. I must have done it before. Silly. So, what do we think? There we go. Rubbish though, isn't it? Oh, at least that's finished. We've only got one more level. At the very least, I want to get to the water level. I say one more level, I mean one more. One more life. So let's just stay out of the way of everything from here, maybe. Or not. Hot dogs on parachutes. I bet that costs quite a lot. For the novelty alone. Here we go. So here's the underwater level. So people that play this game or have played this game, they tend to quite like the underwater level, and it has some positives, like the way it looks. For one, I think it looks quite nice. I like the parallax scrolling in the foreground particularly, but also it is, I think, slightly unfair in the way that it works. So the most unfair thing is these pipes here. If you keep an eye on what happens with those pipes as we go through the level, because I will inevitably come a cropper with them. These are also unfair, those large clamshells. They feel quite difficult to get over. There we go. So I'm not going to get any further. That's not good, is it? At least we've got a couple of continues. So maybe have another crack. I'm not doing that, he's doing that. I can do that when I press down. Oh, it's doable, those shells. Maybe it's just me being rubbish again. But these are annoying. And the pipes are the most annoying thing. When we eventually get to one. So if you don't, time this right, you see there's like these little blue lines. If you time it wrong, you get sucked up the pipe and you get taken all the way to the beginning of the level again. Which, as you can imagine, is not particularly fun. It's also quite tight, isn't it, between that shark and this clam thing. And you've always got these silly pufferfish things. So here's another pipe. Yeah, you see, no space at all is there to wait between that pipe and that shark. I think the other frustration with this level, maybe it's not a good level. Other people say it's a good level, and it's not the worst water level, but it's quite frustrating. And one of the frustrations is how floaty you are in the water. It makes things quite difficult to avoid. You commit to a jump, and as soon as you committed to that jump, you committed to it. It doesn't matter whether the situation changes or what. Mid-jump, I don't know. Maybe it's just, again, poor timing on my part. But like there, it feels like I'd like to just be able... Oh, great. This is... Oh dear. Not happy. Making you do the whole level again is not cool. And if that wasn't bad enough, the way that it takes you back, the fact that it shows you skipping over the whole level, like backwards, that isn't fun. That's not nice. That's a punishment. That's really horrible. Oh my. So, maybe you will understand. This is usually where I give up on this game. because I keep getting caught by those pipes. And I keep getting caught by these pufferfish mid-jump, and just gets a bit much. There's no way to cancel out of a jump. So it's inevitable. You just watch yourself floating slowly towards these pufferfish that are coming at you. Like now, it was rocking a hard place or clamming a pufferfish. Maybe we should. There, it was shark or pufferfish. What do you do? It's the eternal question. Oh, I've done it again. The sound of the pipes it doesn't tally up with what I feel is happening on the screen. Like the rush of the water going up the pipe is what I'm cueing myself on. So I'm going when the sound stops, but actually the pipe is still sucking me up because the actual sucking hasn't finished. So the sound stopped there, but the blue things don't stop. Which again seems a little bit cheap to me. Like both signals should coordinate. Oh, that wasn't fair. Oh, and that's the other thing. If you're not fast enough getting away from the clams, they get you for a second time. That's interesting. Never noticed that before. That has just spat me out at the checkpoint, which is significantly further than I actually am now because I got sucked up by a pipe. So it's almost a benefit of dying. The game's quite forgiving with life. That's something in its favour as well. So the sound stops there, and the blue doesn't stop. I'm gonna get shark. No, I'm not. Sound. That was me cueing you to when the sound stopped. Oh, no, I'm alright. It takes so long to get back to that checkpoint. It's ridiculous. I think we've been playing this level longer than any other. Don't tend to use power-ups in this game. There are a few, I've collected a few, but I always forget to activate them. There's one that makes your frisbee auto, homing missile sort of frisbee situation, which on this level would be useful. I'm gonna get caught. No, I'm not. Oh! I think that's the end. No, it's not. Still. Why do I keep doing that? Oh, I didn't even come out of the pipe properly there, look. I mean, I don't know if you noticed as well, these fishing rods, it seemed like they just took my whole life if I got caught. Which again, when you're talking about cheap gameplay, that's not okay. When everything else takes a bit of your life, and getting caught on a fishing rod is the end of everything. I think I missed that one. Be a bit more careful jumping onto the tortoise. This, I'm almost certain that I'm gonna stop playing this game on this level, like usual. I got onto that tortoise and I just slipped off without touching any buttons. So how's that? The game's not hard by any means. It's really not hard. What I find overwhelming is that it's cheap. I don't think it's fair all the time. And maybe it's not unfair by design, maybe it's just incidental. But unfair is unfair. That was me. I'm not going to make an excuses there. That was me doing that. The blue things that are going up, they are the weeds. I don't know if you've noticed the weeds like blow when the pipe is sucking. So there we are. I don't think I'm going to try again. I think that's your lot, because it'll start me at the beginning of the game, at the beginning of the level. If you've enjoyed watching me play Greendog, I'm sure you haven't, because I'm terrible at it. Clearly, I'm sure there are probably a lot of copies, a fair few copies anyway, floating about secondhand. Give it a go. You might like it more than me. I do think that maybe I was a bit hard on it when we recorded the podcast, but there we are. Also, if you've enjoyed this, please do give the podcast a listen if you haven't already, and like and subscribe to us everywhere, because that helps us a lot and means that we'll be able to carry on doing this sort of thing. Join us on Facebook, on our Facebook page, which is facebook.com/thisgamewhere, and you'll be able to chat to me and to Chris We try and put out posts on a regular basis, and you'll also get updates on when each new episode goes out. As of recording this, our next new episode is going out tomorrow. They release on Thursdays, every second Thursday. So yeah, join us wherever you can, and thank you for coming and watching. Bye.